today, the home economy, the housing economy has little micro markets. That's how it's been since the last 20 years, since really the advent of the internet and everything's coming into play. On the whole, we can look at it as an aggregate, but for the most part, every little area, including San Jose, has their own microeconomy, right? We have houses in areas where there's engineering and manufacturing and military and vacation tourism and all these different little areas. And there's support economies inside of there as well. So here's where it is. This is one across the entire US. The national median home price shrank down to 374. The high was 416,000, and now we're seeing it come down a little bit. That was a high right there. And it's normal for this to ebb and flow. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going into a recession. See how it kind of goes up and down, kind of like the stock market. This is not an indicator of the economy. This is just an 800-foot view of the US housing market, right? And that shows you where the ebb and flow is on the whole there. Philadelphia had the biggest home increase year over year. Let's see if I can shrink this down for you. San Francisco had a 0.6% increase. You see that San Francisco is consistently beaten out every other county. It's not that prices are going way high. It's just that they know that they have to keep their prices low in order to get it done. But there is a slight change in that area. For example, San Jose saw a negative 3.3% decrease in home values over the last year. Why is that? Is that a bad thing? No. It's just that the way I see it is housing values skyrocketed so hard and so fast, so quickly in 2021 that we're now adjusting. We're adjusting to different prices. And if you look at San Jose compared to other cities surrounding it, the 16 other cities that surround San Jose and Santa Clara County, you'll see a better value in those cities, just the way it is. Plus, we also implemented something called Measure E a few years ago, which means that any house that is worth now $2.2 million gets an extra tax when it goes to sell, because we voted that in. I think that really hurt us on value over time compared to other cities within the county, right? So San Jose got hurt, yes, but we did it to ourselves. It's also, if you have an opportunity to buy a, let's say, $2.5 million house in Campbell versus, I don't know, Willow Glen, which is in San Jose, what would you choose, right? You know, you choose higher prices, higher taxes, or do you want to live and work in a place that's a little more peaceful and better run? As far as the city is concerned, you know, it's a smaller jurisdiction, better run, more efficient. Same thing with Cupertino. I'd much rather live in Cupertino, mostly because the housing values there higher, more percentage than San Jose does every year. And you don't have all these extra added costs when it goes to selling the house. And it's a much better run and efficiently run, does that sound right? City versus San Jose. I'm giving negative props to San Jose. It's a big behemoth of a monstrosity of a metropolis, and it's hard to handle all that. Just like California, it's the third largest GDP in the world if we broke apart from the US and yada, 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 but it's not efficiently run. It's not run well, right? And I'm not blaming left or right or up or down. I don't give a shit. It's just over 200 years of putting processes and procedures and laws and taxes over everything. You're just going to have a curmudgeon, a quagmire of inefficiencies, as we see what's going on in the federal government, right? So my point is when you move to a large metropolitan area such as San Jose or San Francisco or Oakland or Los Angeles or Sacramento, you're going to have a lot more built-in inefficiencies, which make it more difficult for people to want to live there versus surrounding areas. I'd rather drive 5 minutes to be in Campbell versus in San Jose. That's why San Jose is losing 3%. But again, it's not a huge mark down. It just is what it is. So also economists, realtor.com, and people all across the US are seeing that our housing market is going to spring of necessity because people are tired of moving, regardless if the interest rates go down or not. I think people need to move, and we've been pent up for the last 3 years. And I think we're just going to springboard this thing out, and we're going to see a huge increase in new listings and a huge increase of new buyers come into the market. Starting March, April, May, that's going to be our selling season. So if you're not ready to sell yet, start today. That can show you specifically what your targeted performance is going to be in marketing. What are we going to do for your marketing? How do I translate that? How do I communicate that for you so you understand it? Well, I work with homes.com and they show you specifically where everything is going into it. So when we talk about list price versus sales price, and this is true to nature, I looked at a couple houses and they all listed around 1.5, and they're all settled in around 1.6. That's the going trend rate, right? And there you go. See, that's how you look at it. So when you go to sell a house, you want to look at this. What is your marketing plan? I can give you a definitive of that. If you want to get, probate and estate sales is very important, especially when you have older parents. It's important that you understand that there's scams out there and people are willing to take your, and anyway, probate and estate sales is very important that we take care of our elders and your older parents and make sure that they land correctly in a place that's appropriate for them, whether it's active adult or memory care or what have you, a retirement community. And it's understanding that we have to work through this entire process, have them bite on it and check into it. So it's not just, oh, just put your house up on sale. I need to give you options so we can communicate options so that your parent can bite on that and understand it and make their decision, because it's still their lives. Going back to this thing about the market coming back, economists keep talking about how this year is going to be a great year. I think what we're going to see is it just bounce right back out of this abnormal market back into a normal market. I don't think we're going to go crazy firestorm like we saw in 2021. But I think what we're going to see is a settling back into a normal market for everybody, including first-time buyers, etc. Okay. This is Los Gatos Home of the Week. This is on Kennedy Road, not my listing, $4 million. I want to tell you about marketing and why it's important. This is just brand new on market. Oh no, this is coming soon still. They have one picture, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 3,400 square feet, asking $4 million, and they have one picture on it. And it's on a busy road. I don't think that's a great way to sell your house. Why put it on market if you only have one photo? Why put it on market if you can't get the full steam, full buzz and everything going? Might be coming soon, but I think that's a bad value for you. All right, so this is highs and lows for this last week. My drive in Los Gatos, not my listing, sold for $11 million. Took 8 days to sell, 6-bedroom, 8-bath. Original list price was $9.6 million. 8 days, guys. Don't be a market maker, attract the market, right? That's all I'm going to tell you. Don't be a market maker, attract the market. Unless your house is a castle, attract the market, right? There's nothing great or valuable about this house. It's just that it's a good house and it's a large house and it's valued at $10 million. And I think they buzzed it up and got the auction going. And the lowest home price in Santa Clara County is 756 square foot house, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath or 1.5 bath, 105-year-old shack sold for $780,000. Now tell me why do people pay $780,000 for a house like this? Wow. Yikes. Well, at least they painted the cabinets, right? I mean, it's 756. That's like $1,000 a square foot for a 100-year-old house. It's crazy. People are doing it. This is the lowest, highest sales price to list price to sales price. The highest list price to sales price ratio. This is Cabrillo Avenue in Santa Clara County, in Santa Clara City, $999,888. Sold for 1.390 in 8 days. Attract the market. Don't be a market maker. If you try to be a market maker and you have one thing out of alignment, your house is going to sit on market for a long time, period, right? That sold for 139% over list price. Yahoo. Why? Because it was probably worth 1.2, 1.3, and you squeaked out another $90,000 out of it. Because if you go into a buzz and you start doing the auction, your house is going to sell. Your house is going to sell fast. You're going to get a lot of traction. You're going to get a lot of people moving in, looking at your house, and you're going to get a lot of offers, and then you get to bump it up a little bit. And this is the lowest list price to sales price ratio. This guy, standard track home in Los Gatos, list price at 2.99998888, on market for 259,000 or 259 days. Sold for $600,000 less. Why? Because you wanted to be a market maker. Ego is the number one reason why homes don't sell. Seller ego. That's all I'm going to say. If you think your house is worth $10 million and it's not, it's going to take forever to sell. If you force your agent to list your house at $3 million and it's really only worth 2.5, you're screwing yourself. That's all I can tell you, right? That's that. Here are the numbers.